Okay, we're back, Anna. We were just watching the video on the Komodo dragon. Sorry that got messed up. I had a call coming through, but hopefully that's not going to happen again. Okay, so Hannah, tell me again where you saw a Komodo dragon.
At the Riverbank Zoo.
Oh wow, okay, so they
And
have
I
it
don't
there.
think it was full grown, but it was.
Didn't look as big as the ones
They
in the
had
video.
them like a little smaller. They had them like 7 years ago when we were there. And then they took them away, and then recently they just. Yeah.
They got them back. Okay, cool. Okay, all right. So the Komodo dragon is the largest. What were some other ones that you learned about that you thought were interesting? Hannah.
I thought the Gila monster was very interesting because it is also the most venomous lizard, and I didn't know a hormone in the venom of the Gila monster is currently being investigated as possible treatment for diabetes.
Yeah,
I thought
that was
was
really interesting. Now this textbook is really old.
That is true. So
we can you Google that sometime if you think about it and see if anything's going on with that because yes. So I don't know, what's happened since then, but yes. So the Gila monster is going to be the largest lizard in the United States. Did they have that? They probably had that at the Did they have those at the Greenville Zoo or in the?
I think so.
I think they have it in the reptile section at the.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing them.
Okay, yeah, this summer would be a good time to go to a zoo after you've been studying all these different animals. It'll mean a lot more to you. Okay. What else? What other ones, Ruby?
The gecko, I thought was really interesting. Is that they can literally like stick to glass and walk upside down, or like go like downward, not.
Do you remember what the gecko has on it that allows it to do that?
Yeah, they have these tiny. Let me look for the word, but it's like these tiny little like branches basically that are like super tiny, and then they have little branches coming off of them. I don't know.
I thought they said they were hairs.
Oh, hairs. Yeah, I was thinking of a word for it, but I couldn't think of any. But it was hairs. Yeah, but they're like really tiny, and they help like stick it.
Right, help it so it can walk on glass. Eli.
The horned lizard.
And what did you think was interesting about that?
That ward off predators, and I've learned about this before, but it squirts blood from his eyes.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna watch a video of that.
That is so.
It was called
What?
Okay. All right.
It's called something else.
So Anna, we're gonna watch the video of the horned lizard showing blood out his eyes, and I'm sending you the link to all these.
Nancy, you do not do your job.
Come on, Nancy.
I'll do it. Who's do better than that?
How could you?
Has very weird body parts.
Oh.
I didn't want to see that.
Oh, this
But when it
is
comes to defense, one species has an eye on the prize for weirdest.
Oh yeah, this guy's.
The horned lizard has 3 ingenious ways of dealing with predators. Its jagged body provides perfect camouflage against keen-eyed aerial hunters. But this raider hunts by smell, not sight. Spiny armor isn't enough to deter a hungry snake. So the 5-inch lizard puffs up its body to almost double its size.
This is a great defense. First of all, because when they puff up, it makes them look more intimidating. Secondly, if this snake tries to eat this lizard, it's going to get a mouthful of spikes.
After puffing itself up, the lizard literally flips out.
That's funny.
dramatic slow motion.
These crazy moves are more than enough to freak this enemy out.
How? I feel like when it
It's
becomes
bad,
bad,
it's
I go in it.
Oh, yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, I would have
It's
been
like
like,
it's the word here.
I was just the last one.
When faced with something over 10,000 times heavier than itself, this spunky critter doesn't run or hide. It unleashes one of the weirdest defensive body parts on the planet. It's all in the eyes.
Oh my god.
That's what?
Oh, they do
This
that.
surprises even me. The way the lizards do this is by reducing blood flow out of the head and allowing blood pressure to build up in vessels all over its face.
Can we do that?
And at a certain point, the blood pressure in the small vessels
Yeah, if you just gouge out your eyes.
builds up so much that they burst, allowing a stream of blood to shoot out.
This weird weapon can shoot a stream of blood up to 5 feet into the air, averaging around 10 times in succession.
Stop showing it.
I
I get it.
I don't like
I keep doing
to control the direction of where that stream goes.
Don't,
Oh, yeah.
but a mouthful of lizard blood is too much for this.
There it is.
This dog is running away because behavior is not just projectile warfare, it's chemical warfare. That fluid is especially repugnant to dogs.
Stop doing it!
Okay.
Like a jump scare.
Alright.
I just cannot do
The
it.
first one definitely was like a jump scare on purpose.
Yeah, the first one. I don't really mind that. But like that just showed it over and over again. I was like,
that was a bit much.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I do.
All right, so yes, so we got to talk about some interesting lizards. So let's talk a little bit about snakes.
Yay. We have copperheads. You know.
Imagine you just like give yourself like break your nose, you squirt nose.
So we know that snakes are deaf, okay, but they can sense vibrations on the ground. So you think about they've got nerves on the underside of their body, and so they can sense vibrations on the ground. That's one of the ways that they might sense prey or predators. And what else do they have a strong sense of?
Sorry, I was gonna say for like the vibrations.
Uh-huh.
I used to live like close to the woods in Charleston,
Uh-huh.
and so there were a lot of snakes. But I remember like my parents would be like, make sure that you like stomp on the ground, because if you like stomp like really like hard, then they'll get scared.
That was really good advice because they don't want to be around us. Yeah, they don't want to be
So
around
if like
us,
you
so they
stomp on the
will
ground
leave.
while they're walking,
That
like,
was-
Oh,
yeah.
pardon me.
then you won't step.
That was very good advice. Okay, so we know that they can't hear, but what do they have a strong
Smell.
sense of? Smell. Okay, and they have nostrils, but they have something else.
Oh, Jacobson's body organs.
Okay, Jacobson's organs, and where are those, and what do they do?
Their mouth.
In the mouth, and
Does it?
It collects chemicals
And
that's
on
suspended
their
in the
tongue.
air.
One of the snakes and stuff, their tongue.
they collect the chemicals on the tongue, take them back into the mouth, and then that sends a signal to the brain. Okay, so that's what. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. So we have a lot of snakes that are harmless. Okay. Some snakes that don't bite are what? What's their way of protecting themselves or catching predators? Constricting. Okay. They're going to line themselves around their prey and squeeze them to death. And what are some examples of those?
A boa constrictor.
Okay.
Ball python,
I'll give it to
python,
you.
anaconda.
Yes. Okay. All right. And then a small percentage of snakes are poisonous snakes. And you know, snakes get such a bad rap, but really snakes help keep what under control?
Rats.
Rats and mice, okay? And I do want to make sure, because I don't know if you guys know this has kind of gotten some press lately, and this was something that I learned recently. But mouse and rat poop, because everybody, even if you have an immaculate house, at some point could get a mouse or something in their house. Did anyone hear about Gene Hackman and his wife, who he was a famous actor, and they were found dead in their home out in California? Did anybody
yes,
hear
I
this?
did know
And then
that.
also
I didn't
this
know that.
happened at a ski resort area in California.
I think I
So-
remember a story like that.
Okay, well, there is a virus called mantavirus that is in mouse and rat poop, okay? And so if it gets stirred up, like you try to sweep it up or do something like that, you disturb it, even if the mouse or rat poop has been sitting there for a while, it stirs up the virus gets into the air, and about a third of humans that get this virus will die. And so
Well, how do
basically,
they clean it up then?
if you have a mouse or rat poop, you are supposed to make up a mixture of bleach and water, and you are supposed to spray it down, and then that's going to kill the virus, and then you wipe it up, and you wear a mask while you're doing it.
So how many people have died from it?
Well, I don't know. I had never heard of it until this year, and then they found this actor. He was older and he had Alzheimer's, but his wife was younger, and they were living in this house, and she took care of him. So and gave him his medicine and all this, and so it was kind of like on the news that they were found dead, and people thought, did somebody try to murder them? They had to kind of do a whole investigation, and basically the wife had the virus. They had found like mouse droppings and stuff in the house. The wife had the virus. She died. The husband died a week later, and I think, he had dementia and Alzheimer's, and she was his caretaker, and he wasn't getting his medication, and he wasn't getting fed. And so their bodies were in like totally separate parts of the house. It's really sad. But then there's a ski resort area in California called Mammoth Mountain, and there were 3 people recently that died that got it like in homes in this ski resort area. So yes, this is something I want to tell you guys again, out of love for my students, that you know this, that if you ever get mice or rats in your house, you don't just go sweeping up the droppings. You have to take it very seriously. Okay, so snakes, they get a bad rap, but there's so many good snakes, and snakes really are a good thing. And the other day, I walked out to my carport, and there was a huge black snake just cruising through.
I was tanning outside the other day by the pool, and then my dad was out there, and I had my headphones in, but through my headphones I heard wham! And over there we had killed a snake and chopped off its head. But
well, I was like, this snake, I have seen black snakes go under my house and around my house. And to me, I was like, I'm not touching that snake. That snake's making sure I don't get manta virus, because that snake is eating little critters, because my cat died last winter, and so I don't have a cat anymore that's getting all the little critters. And so cats will eat the mice.
and we will eat small.
Yes. So cats are good. It's good to have cats, but I'm not going to get another cat. And so I'm okay with the black snake. So most snakes are harmless. They're actually really good. They don't want to be, they're not coming to attack us. They're not on the attack. They just like Ruby said with the stomping, they're trying to avoid us. But there are some poisonous snakes. So tell me about the poisonous snakes, Eli.
There's, I don't remember, I don't think it was a black mamba. I think it was the western diamondback that's on here.
Uh-huh.
But the thing that's really interesting to me about it, it's not in this book, but the inside of its mouth is like a very, just completely black.
Oh.
I did not
I've
know
never
that,
seen
and it
that.
looks pretty terrifying.
I almost stepped on one.
What?
A western diamondback? Or there was some snake with a diamondback, but I don't know.
Oh, a copperhead.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not.
it might have been
There's
that,
like
but I
a
know it
Georgian
was poisonous.
diamondback that
I just
is
don't
in
know
this
which one.
area, but it's not going to be like the western diamondback. It's just a rattlesnake.
Right, okay.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
called. I think it's called like something R rattlesnake, like Georgian rattlesnake or something like that. I've seen one before.
So the poisonous snakes, how do they deliver the poison?
By their fangs.
By their fangs, okay? And so we've got 2 different kinds of poisons. We've got, what are the 2 types of poisons?
Neurotoxin and hemotoxin.
Okay, let's try to raise hands. That's okay. Look up at me if you know the answer and raise your hand. So neurotoxin and hemotoxin. Neurotoxin, what are they more likely to have, long fangs or short fangs? Nancy? Short. Okay, so the neurotoxin is going to be quicker acting, but it's not as strong. The hemotoxin is going to take a little longer. It's going to, like the word heme has to do with blood cells. The hemotoxin attacks the red blood cells. It takes a little bit longer, but it is a little more serious. And the hemotoxin is going to be delivered by longer fangs, okay? And so, examples of the of the, snakes with the long fangs are gonna be the vipers, okay? Like the pit vipers that have those longer fangs, those are going to deliver the hemotoxins. Okay,
Did they, water moccasins and copperheads, or you're gonna find them in South Carolina? It's like really actually, like very much in South Carolina. Like I was at my cousin's farm and we were walking through their, like their stream going into the lake barefoot. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but it's really muggy and we saw a water moccasin as we were walking barefoot in the water and it's in the water with us. Super
so
scary.
yeah, so
So we told her
definitely
to
the two ones that you're gonna see in South Carolina the most, that are going to be the most poisonous, are gonna be the copperheads. I would say copperhead's number one in our area.
What's
And
the most poisonous snake in the whole world?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
I was watching a video about it.
And the water
Ask
moccasin.
Siri.
You know, there's some different kind of rattlesnakes and things, but it's mostly gonna be, does everybody know what a copperhead looks like?
Yes,
It's kind of coppery color with diamonds. I was gonna show a video of it. I will send it to you. I think I'll send everybody a link with the poisonous snakes in South Carolina, so that you have that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do, snakes eat their prey?
They just swallow them whole.
They swallow them whole, so the ones that have the neurotoxin or the hemotoxin are gonna inject them with the poison that's gonna kill or calm down the prey. It's gonna swallow it whole, and how can a snake swallow its prey whole?
It has a big mouth, its jaw stretches.
Yes, okay, so the jaw is attached to the quadrate bone and not the skull, so that allows it basically to open up extremely wide. Nancy?
If you're like confused whether or not it is a poisonous snake, their head's gonna be like a diamond shape, so it's gonna be a poison.
the poison?
Yeah, but like if it's not poisonous, it's gonna be more like an oval or like slightly, like not super
Huh,
defined.
I didn't know that, okay, so it's
My
gonna
dad
have,
showed- My dad showed us a picture of a boa, like a anaconda, wrapped around a giant king cobra that bit the anaconda, so they were both dead because the king cobra.
I also saw that.
oh, wow.
It was crazy, and the king cobra was huge. Like its head was probably around that big. It was huge.
And so certain, the black cobras will spit venom out besides just, injecting it. So yes, the black-necked cobra will actually spit it out at their prey. Okay, so the next order we have is the testudines, okay? And what are those?
Tortoises and
Turtles.
Taurus.
Tortoises and Taurus.
What are some things that we, need to know about those?
There's just a bunch of different types, and
What qualities do they have?
they have they live on land.
Well, tortoises.
They have a big old shell.
Turtles live on water. They have a huge shell. Most
So turtles are in the water, and the tortoises are what, Nancy? Sorry.
but on land.
Mhm.
My dog finds tortoises in the yard and brings them to our doorstep, and I have to go outside and bring it somewhere where he can't find it. He just carries it in his mouth.
I got it. Okay. All right. So short, thick legs. They can retreat into a shell. The nostrils are going to be on the top of their snout in a turtle so that they can breathe under the water. Okay. The largest turtles, the largest organisms in order testudines are going to be your leatherback sea turtles that can be up to 1,500 pounds. Okay. All right. The differences between alligators and crocodiles. Who wants to answer that one? Ruby.
Wait.
Okay.
One of them. Let me just make sure I'm right. Yeah. Okay. Alligators have thick, like noses, like thick snouts or whatever, and then when they close their mouths, you can't see their teeth. But crocodiles, they have like longer snouts, and you can see their teeth like stick out from their mouth.
Yes, so the little snaggly tooth, when you see, images drawn, the little snaggly tooth is going to be the crocodile, okay?
No, it's just a different species. May I go to the restroom? Can I go too?
But y'all play us.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right,
Someone told me that.
No.
Someone.
okay, so what else do we know about the alligators and the crocodiles?
Are stealthy predators.
They're stealthy
Wow.
predators,
Oh,
they, are oviparous, and they're eggs.
Oh, they lay their eggs and cover them with like sand or whatever they can find where they lay them and then leave and then they come back.
They're usually gonna cover them with a bunch of like decomposing like
Oh, right.
grasses and materials because those decomposers are gonna release energy and that's gonna kind of put warmth to the egg.
So one time, I don't know if it was alligator or crocodile, but my Mimi, she lives in Florida, and they live like right by a lake or something. And we were walking outside, and we saw an alligator crocodile like come out of the water, and one of my uncles had to like take it and like shoo it back into the water. It was pretty interesting.
That's cute.
Because they get alligators all the time.
Okay. So I've got a video of alligators hatching. For some reason, the video that I previewed that I liked is like not available, so I pulled another one off. So I haven't watched this. I did not get to preview this one, so hopefully it is okay.
Flamingos stink.
I agree.
Oh no, this is good.
Today we are collecting eggs from
I also, there's this thing about alligators that, it's not, I read too many books about reptiles when I was a kid. But they, to attack prey, they do this thing where they like roll in the water, which would break off all their legs and essentially kill it quickly.
Break off all whose legs?
Whoever they catch their prey.
Kiowa Island, there's a lady
Well, they
that
tried to
tried to
fish,
pet
they
an
don't have
alligator and it took it into the water
They
and
just
she's
eat
never
it.
been back.
That's a bit easier.
At Kiowa Island, there's a
Well, I
lady who tried
hate
to
that I
pet an
can't find,
alligator and he took her into the water. And she
Okay,
was
I'm gonna try to find another video for next week because this was a really good video, and so it showed the, baby alligators coming out. And then one of the other things that it told you that was really interesting to me was that, if the eggs were mostly a certain temperature, it was a lower temperature for females and a higher for males. The temperature that the eggs were at during their incubation period determined the gender that the babies were gonna be. So you could have all girls. So I'm gonna find this video and send it to you because it was really good. Or we'll watch it next week. But, so if it was below a certain temperature, it was all girls. If it was above a certain temperature, it was all boys. And then if it was in this like tight mid-range, you could get a mix. And so I thought that was so interesting. But then when the babies hatched, they immediately knew to go down to the water, and they found their mom and like got on her body. And basically the mom works really hard like that whole first year to protect her. But I'm going to send that one for you. Okay, the dinosaurs. So, there's a reason that the book doesn't have a lot of information about the dinosaurs. And that's because, first of all, there's not a lot of remains. A lot of it's like theories and people putting information together. Hey girls, I'm gonna be sending everybody a video of the alligators.
Okay.
It actually, the one I wanted for some reason got taken down. Okay, so we're on the dinosaurs now, talking about the dinosaurs. The book doesn't cover a lot about the dinosaurs because it's all theories kind of based on assumptions, and pretty much everybody who is a dinosaur, so-called expert out there does believe in evolution. And so they're evolution scientists, and So it's just, you know, it's all, we don't have a lot of fossils, it's kind of all putting information together. So, anyway, the book kind of gives you some basic information about the different types. Does anybody have anything from this section that they found interesting or that they learned that was new to them?
The T-Rexes might not be like actually the predators that we're told they are because they have like really small hands.
And the teeth, even though they had big teeth, they had shallow roots, so they could be pulled out easily if they were trying to, you know, get at and attack another animal.
And I was also so like surprised that most of them were herbivores.
Yes, they really were.
I was
They
like,
really
wow,
are. Most
I
of
didn't
them
think
are,
that.
yes, most of them are
Really?
herbivores, like, and that's like, you know, but
Well-
again, it's still all.
Well, I feel like they were because back then they didn't really kill meat because I forgot what, but it's like in the Bible, right? They said something about it or something like how they used to all eat herbivores and let the animals be and never eat meat until like.
The
like
people
King's
did
time. Yeah,
that.
the people.
Did that.
But they
yeah.
also said that animals didn't really eat each other either, and they usually ate plants. It was a Bible class, where it was something like that. Don't take my word on it, but because I don't remember all the parts, but they said like.
Well, I mean,
So
most
one thing
animals
happened.
are herbivores, but,
Okay.
okay. All right, so do creation scientists believe that humans and dinosaurs could have inhabited the earth at the same time?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, before the flood. So, yes, so, and what was some evidence of that the book mentioned?
They've seen humans, ancient drawings of dinosaurs and rocks.
In caves, and, yeah, Native American caves.
So they could like.
We really
Not
can't
be
theorize
real.
about everything though. We might just have to leave it.
Right,
as mystery.
right. We're not, yes, it's gonna be one of those things you can ask God about when you get to heaven. As my pastor sometimes says, he says, I'm gonna be asking to rent
That's what I
that
mean.
DVD when I get there, cause I wanna
I love
know.
questions.
So some, you know, we're not meant to know everything, and that's just kinda one of those mysteries.
I
Okay.
have a whole list of questions.
That's
to
what
ask
I
about tonight.
Okay, so now we're going on to birds. Okay, so class A's, and what do we, some characteristics about birds? Okay, I'm gonna ask, okay, go ahead, Nancy.
Endothermic. They're endothermic, so they're warm-blooded.
They're endothermic.
I
Yes,
got
so
it this
they
time.
can use energy to heat their body. Good job, okay.
They finally have a heart with 4 real chambers.
Yes, so we've been progressing, so they do
Yay!
have a
It's only
heart
taken
with 4 real chambers. Okay, so I wanna show you this so everybody kinda understands how this works, and the reptiles is similar because the ventricle is divided, okay? So you've got, like that one's gonna work. Okay,
They have invisible hearts.
okay, so we've got the right atria, the right ventricle, the left atria, the left ventricle. Atrias receive blood, ventricles do what?
Disperse blood.
Yes, so that ventricles pump it out, atrias receive it, okay? So the oxygen poor blood, the blood travels through the body and oxygen goes out of it into the cells where it's needed. The oxygen poor blood comes back to the right atria, goes down to the right ventricle, okay? And then it gets pumped out to where?
The lungs.
The lungs, okay? So that's where it's gonna pick up the oxygen. And so now the oxygen-rich blood goes into the left atria, goes down to the left ventricle, and then the left ventricle pumps it out to the body so it can take the oxygen and the nutrients to where they're needed. Okay, so that is how it works. It's keeping the oxygen poor and the oxygen rich blood separate. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that's how the bird's heart works. That's also how our heart works, okay? Ruby, do you get out of the
She
way?
can't see.
My contacts came out, so I'm just trying
Okay.
to zoom in so I can
That's
see
fine,
it.
you see, okay. Anybody have any questions about that?
You have two people.
Okay. Anybody have, you got it, Ruby? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my nurses
No,
need to
you
know
can't
that,
see
so, okay. All right, so what else? Besides the four, we know they have a 4-chamber heart and they're endothermic,
Bill.
a toothless bill, okay, also known as the beak, and how, you know, this principle that we learn in biology about form follows function. How can you apply that principle, form follows function, to the beaks of birds?
Their beaks are made so that they can like catch fish and stuff.
And like hit.
Well, their beaks are made specifically for whatever that type of bird typically
Cause
eats.
I remember back in what module 9 was it about
Yeah.
Darwin and the beaks of the different
Right?
birds?
Yes, good, Hannah. Okay, yes. So if it is like a vulture or some kind of predator bird, it's gonna have a hooked curve that's gonna be kind of sharp on the beak, okay? Maybe to use to kind of help tear meat or tear into something, okay? There was one kind of bird that it mentioned that had some kind of a long beak so that it can slurp up shrimp. You've got the hummingbird that has that long narrow beak so it can get down into the flowers to suck out the nectar. So beaks, it's definitely gonna be whatever that bird was designed to do and what that bird was designed to eat. That's how God's gonna design the beak, okay? So it's definitely a form follows function type thing. Okay, what about their reproduction?
It's oviparous.
Oviparous and,
a lion emitting shell.
okay, amniotic, what did you say? Amniotic.
Amniotic egg.
Okay, which the reptile had an amniotic egg too, but what's different, Nancy, about
They
the
have
bird?
a lime containing.
So it contains a mixture of lime and calcium, so it's gonna have a harder outside, but can gas exchange still happen through that
Yes.
shell? Yes, it can. It can still, yes, the gas exchange can still, it's still porous, so the gas exchange can still happen. Okay. All right, so, where are we on time?
What
That's one of our-
It's on my shirt, I got scared.
All right, so we're gonna,
I have a chicken story real quick if you want.
yeah, you can tell me,
There
Ron.
were no. We had 2 roosters that we had to get rid of because we had too many roosters. So, my dad, so he didn't have to go and catch a rooster, just pulled out a pistol and shot it in the head. And you know about how chickens can like last for a few minutes and their head gets cut off.
Once the egg is laid,
Okay, hold on one
as
second.
thousands of cells rapidly multiply and organize inside the protective shell.
Are you okay? You're actually so
The front and the back.
Okay, so we're going to, Eli, did you get finished with your story? I apologize. Okay, all right.
You know how chickens will like run around for like you'd think it would be for like a few minutes after their heads get cut off
Uh-huh.
as like some sort of sensory thing. My dad shot our chicken in the head and it ran around for like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, I'm traumatized.
My
What?
grandma did it when she was
Okay.
younger.
At a
Okay.
okay. farm, they thought it'd be a good idea to kill their chickens and eat them for Easter for Thanksgiving, and I was 5 years old and watching them pull out that.
Okay.
So my dad
Okay,
would-
we're gonna watch the video of the chicken egg. Okay, we gotta move forward so we can finish. But this is gonna be the development of the egg, okay? And you can kind of see the different parts, see what's going on. All right.
And the top and the bottom and all of those things being worked out in this cascade of events.
What is this?
Where's the
This
head
is a
going to be?
chicken.
Where's the
Inside
tail
the
going to
egg.
be? What's right, what's left, what's front versus back? Already these major axes are being established. And as these cells are moving and heading towards the places in the embryo where they're going to develop, they're also changing what they're going to do eventually. They're committing themselves, in most cases irreversibly, to particular functional roles. On day two, the first
this is day 2.
ears and
Day
eyes
2.
take shape. Its vascular and circulatory systems are established, and its heart beats for the first
Ruby,
time.
I'm gonna send all the links out to all these
At
videos
hour
if you wanna watch
46,
them at home.
the head of the embryo starts to arch into the fetal position.
Oh, this is weird.
Throughout the second day, a network of blood vessels branches from the embryo into the yolk. They will transport vital nutrients back to the growing organism.
You gotta pay attention to the details. You have genes being switched on and off, interaction, cell communication. It's an elaborate dance. It's like a ballet taking place on a stage with thousands of cast members. All of them doing everything they're supposed to on cue, in the right order, in the right sequence, in the right time. The process itself is so amazing. It transcends anything we know.
With the groundwork of major systems and organs now in place, the next 19 days are devoted to the completion of their development.
So small.
So by 96 hours, all of the organs are in place.
I feel so inspired.
What part of this is inspiring to you exactly, asking?
I don't
So what do you
know.
mean? What do you mean by
I'm gonna have a chicken. Oh.
Yeah,
why is it? Why did you take me a video?
I'm like, why did you pick this song?
This is so weird.
Because it's showing you how fascinating God's creation is and how He did
Thank
it.
you, Hannah.
You're welcome.
So
You
you're
saved it, Hannah. Good job.
Yeah.
a cell that can do anything. And 21 days, billions of different cells doing hundreds and hundreds of
that's the
different
cross.
kinds of tasks in the
I'm like,
organism.
what is that?
The speed,
Just
the
imagine
efficiency,
Wait,
the
is that-
elegance of the whole process. What you're seeing is a mechanism at work, information being translated into a physical product. Each step along the way, machines doing jobs. It's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
So cute.
I want one now.
I'm not afraid of
You can have one mine because they're annoying.
Next one,
Alright.
something like this back
Thanks, Nancy.
Thanks for your time.
You're not helping today. Okay.
No, there's.
I'm gonna send out links to all the videos, but even if you don't go back and rewatch all of them, please make sure if I put an alligator video on there, that you watch it, because it was really cool. Okay, so, besides, the egg and they're endothermic, they have a 4-chambered heart, they're oviparous. Tell me about the bird skeleton.
It is porous and hollowish.
Okay, so it's light and porous, but what else? It's strong. How can a hollow porous bone be strong? Anybody remember what they have inside of them? I'm gonna show you a photo.
Where is it? Oh, here it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Tell me about it.
they have the strands of bone tissue that traverse the air cavities.
Yes, and so that makes them, so that helps them to stay light, which is gonna be very important for flight. But it still gives them strength. And so I wanna show y'all a picture of it. They kind of form little cavities. So see this photo right here? This is kind of a good photo, kind of an image. See how the bone tissue kind of forms these like little compartments?
That's cool.
And that strengthens it, but still allows it to be light, okay?
Is that what our
Nancy, I'm definitely gonna show one more little video today, so make sure that you check all that, okay? Okay,
I'm gonna stay
so,
for like 4 more minutes.
okay, all right, so, tell me, with the flight, those bones, bones are important. What else is important for flight?
feathers.
The feathers and the wings, okay? So let's talk a little bit about the feathers. You can see on figure 16.4 on page 510, you're gonna see the parts of the feather, and kind of the big thing that I want you to understand is off of the rachis, which is kind of, you've got that long part that goes through the feather. The end of it that doesn't have the feather part attached to it is the quill. The long part that's kind of within the feather is called the rachis. And then that whole area is called the vein. And so off of the vein, you've got these barbs that are long that go outward from the vein, and then you've got barbules. Okay, girls, okay. All right, so you've got smooth barbules that are going one way, and then these hooked barbules that are going the other way, that kind of help keep it all together, okay? So what was one thing that's important about these kind of interlocking, anybody remember why it's important that they have these interlocking strands like this with the hooked and the smooth that kind of helps? What does that do?
That like provides strength.
Yes, strength, but also
Flexibility.
flexibility, okay? It has to be flexible. And what else happens with the bird that is very important to kind of keep that flexible? Preening. And what is that, Ruby? Do you remember what the preening is?
It dips its bill into a gland and then rubs the bill all over the feathers.
Yes, and what does that gland contain?
Oil?
Yes, so it's got to keep the feathers oiled so that the smooth and the barbules can run across each other well, so that it keeps that movement, okay? And so this is what, we're going to watch a video with some birds preening. Okay. All right.
So that's what they do.
Chances are that you have, because it's a common behavior among birds, one that is easy to observe. When you consider that maintaining plumage and good training is a matter of life and death to birds, it's no wonder they spend so much of their day taking care of their feathers. In fact, it's so important that even in the nestling stage, they are already doing it.
Because it keeps the feathers so that they can glide, so that it's smooth. It keeps it.
By preening, they keep their feathers free from parasites that would destroy them.
That's one thing.
It also maintains their aerodynamic function because in order to fly at their very best, each feather needs to be in tip-top condition. And also, cared for and good-looking feathers help to attract a mate. Although every bird is able to care for their own feathers, some birds can't help but to preen each other. This type of preening is known as mutual preening or allo preening. It's a good way to help each other get at feathers in hard to reach places, such as the back of the head. But although it helps each other to care for those hard to reach feathers, it is also thought that this sharing of maintenance duties is a social behavior because it can help strengthen pair bonds or flock membership. And just look at the crow who is being groomed. It is pretty obvious that it is loving every second of it. It loved it so much that when the one doing the preening would stop and move away, he'd move in closer and put its head down in a gesture expressing that he wanted more.
Okay.
That's so sweet.
So the preening is going to help remove parasites. It's going to help keep the feathers in tip-top shape because the feathers do attract mates. But the big thing is, it allows those barbules to slide over each other, which keeps the feathers the way that they need to be for flight. Okay? Let's see. What time is it right now?
1:45.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop. We'll finish feathers next week, finish birds, and talk about mammals. And I want everybody